Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. So we're going to take a look at the Power Macintosh G4 867 megahertz model that has two processors in it. Anyways, so let's zoom out and let's talk about this thing. I actually got it running Chromag Rally there, just in demo mode. But anyway, so let me just flip this so I can see. There we go. So this thing came out quite a long time ago. I actually have the sheet downloaded from everymac.com. And let's just quit the game. So it came out in 2002 in August and was discontinued in January of 2003. Two processors, 867 megahertz speed. This is the G4 series processors, so it's not Intel stuff. Now, as far as standard RAM goes, you got 256 megabytes, and it could go to 2 gigs of RAM, which mine is actually maxed out to 2 gigs. Doesn't sound like a lot, I know, eh? And uses PC 2100 DDR SD RAM. 4 RAM slots, so 4 512s are in there now. I don't know if you could actually put 4 1 gigers in there and see if it could recognize it. I haven't tried that sort of stunt yet. Have to look into that maybe. Anyway, so the video card that's in here is actually a NVIDIA GeForce 4 MX 32 meg. Yeah, again, doesn't sound like a lot, I know. Standard VRAM, of course, is 32, max is 32 with that video card. You can run dual displays. Now, it does support on both displays 1920 by 1200. So I could hook it up to my 27-inch display and not only get the 1920 by 1200, but I can also get much lower resolutions as well. And your resolutions will vary on screen size. For example, this is about a 22-inch screen or 20-inch screen. I can get 1600 by 900, 1280 by 720, and 1024 by 576. So those are the supported resolutions on this particular screen. So, bigger screen, you can go up to that 1920 by 1200 if you want. And that's a really nice resolution for this thing. Standard storage is 80 gig. I've got a 120 in this one. And believe me, it's a lot. And wait till you see what I got in this thing and you're going to be shaking your head going, huh? Anyways, well, at least for the non-Mac fans, you will. 8 times combo CD DVD burner comes with it, and there's one in there. You can support actually 2 drives in those 5 1/4 bays, but you can also put a lot of extra hard drives internally as well, which is also total bonus. So you can really deck this thing out. For back in the day, this thing was fantastic for graphics arts and designer people, music people, movie industry, I mean, but even general users would buy stuff like this, you know, for a heavy-duty machine. And it can definitely play a lot of video games, no problem. Now, the supported pre-installed OS is 9.2.2 with 10.2, so it's dual, so you get classic access. Your maximum operating system is 10.5.8, which is actually Leopard, and which is actually, I have 10.5.8 sitting on my eMac right now, but without the dual boot to 9.2.2. Now, as far as Windows support goes, that's going to be emulation only. And I do have a boatload of different virtual PCs or soft PC with Windows versions that I can run on this. Now, it is a little sluggy running soft PC, but that's the way we did it in the beginning. Nowadays, we use Boot Camp. We run a real Windows operating system with absolutely 0 lag or slowdowns whatsoever. So it's kind of bonus with Boot Camp these days. Now, as far as the rest of it goes, the original selling price of this thing was $16.99 US. Current retail estimated is $200 to $350. So that's going to depend on condition, configuration, what all it's coming with, and so on. So, not a bad little machine for its era, and also not a bad machine for nowadays. And like other Macintosh computers, we can run multiple different types of OSs on here as well to make it even more useful for today's stuff. So if we want to get back on the internet with security, I mean, you're going to have to give up the Mac OS and go to something like Linux or Unix. core type thing or some other operating system, but you can still do it and still get this thing running on the internet, which is kind of like, that's interesting and fun, right? I honestly do not dabble into that sort of stuff with the Macs. I tend to stick with a Mac OS, or I go with Mac and Windows. For example, I have one of my Mac Pro laptops running Catalina as well as Windows 10 as my secondary operating system on a different partition. This way I can switch between the two operating systems and I have no slowdown, no lag, because none of it's done under emulation. Where this thing would be done on emulation, and it would be the only way to do it. You know, you're not going to run an actual real Windows operating system on this thing that I'm aware of that you can do anyway. Of course, I'm going to look into that sort of thing because I'm kind of curious to see what can we really do with this thing in all, right? Now, as far as the color palette goes, we've got millions of colors. We've got 1600 by 900, 1280 by 720, 1024 by 576 on this screen. Now on this 27 where I did have it, I was getting right up to that 1920 by 1200 without any issue, still running millions of colors, no big deal. But even for today's usages, I mean, this thing is great for playing video games, and tons of them. Okay, like I'm still downloading stuff from the internet for old Mac OS 9 games for this thing. I'm going to be kitting my eMac up very similar. I do have to upgrade the hard drive in there because the stock hard drive actually sucks for size. But I do have so far installed AppleWorks, Photoshop 5, FileMaker Pro 4. I've got my Toast Titanium burner software, plus the Apple software. And the reason why I have Toast in here is for opening up ISOs and burning like bootable CDs and just to open up ISO images without having to have some other program on top of Toast. Because the built-in burner software from Apple does not give us the ability to just open up an ISO under OS 9. So, some differences. I have a 120 gig hard drive in this, like I said, and I have 98.34 gigs of free space. And just in my main game folder of stuff I've reinstalled, because I've done a complete fresh OS install the other day. So far I've got 80 different games in here. The funnest one for me right now is actually Chromag Rally. It is awesome. You gotta try it. It's so much fun. But I have other games in here. I've got Empyrean, Arashi, Prince of Persia 2, F-117 Stealth Fighter, F-18 Korea, Load Runner. Now that's an old game. Marathon Trilogy Packs of all the marathons. Carmageddon's 1 and 2, Age of Empires, Alone in the Dark, Pathways into Doom, like just to name a few of them. It's just insane. And I still have my compressed folder of games with 224 games in here that I still have not even installed yet as well. OS 9 utilities, I got tons of them and I'm downloading more. OS 9 main apps, I've got Illustrator, Freehand, PageMaker, I've got Home Publisher, you name it. I am set up to do everything you can think of with a computer. And I still haven't installed hardly anything out of here. I even have a few older versions of Photoshop. System 7 icons. You can use these icons to actually just change the look of something. Like if you want your hard drive to look differently as an icon, you can do that. Same with your folders and so on. Plus I have a collection of over 1,700 icons, which I can use for whatever. MDK is another game I have that's outside of my games folder. I didn't install it directly to the games folder, so I have to leave it on the main level, because otherwise it can't find the data file. I have no idea why. But MDK is basically, it's Murder, Death, Kill is the name of the game, and it's a really cool game. It's a lot of fun. Of course my Titanium, I got a graphics folder full of all kinds of other graphic programs as well. I still gotta go through these. This is stuff that my buddy gave me preloaded. My friend James gave me the computer, and he just like loaded it to the snot hill, and it's like, ah! Plus I've been still downloading stuff on top of that. Main OS 9 apps, this is stuff, some of this actually comes with the OS, some of it does not. The other thing I wanted to make a point of in this video too, as part of the review on this thing, is one of the problems with OS 9 was opening and closing our CD drawer. And I had a problem with that for a while because I'm not using a Mac keyboard, so I don't have that supported key, right? And you figure, you do the F key thing. No, it doesn't work. You can assign an F key to launch any app you want, which is great, but I didn't have the CD app for opening and closing the drawer, nor did I have the control strip module, and I had a hard time finding this stuff. So my buddy James the other day, he gave me what's called OS 9 Lives, which is a restore CD for this, and it actually gave me not only the apps on the OS install, but it also gave me the control panel. So now when I've assigned my F12 key, I just push and hold, and voila, my CD drawer opens and closes, or I can actually go through the control strip and do the same thing. Otherwise I was having to use Roxio Toast, fire it up, and then tell it to eject something that's not even there, and it would open it. So you do need the actual restore CD for the G4, but you can also get the OS 9 Lives, which is actually OS 922, which is what the base OS on this is anyways. And away you go. Now all I'm running, like I said, is just straight 922. I'm not running the combo with 10, so I'm not running that part of the recovery CD. I'm just running straight out OS 9 Lives, and it's fantastic. And even with only having 2 gigs of RAM in this thing, I still have 1.43 gigs free. And the funny thing is Chromag Rally wants almost 2 gigs just to itself. So if we were to take a look at Chromag for a second, just for its memory requirements. Now this is another advantage of OS 9 that you don't get anymore in the newer OSs, and that's we can change the memory allocation. So this thing actually wants basically 2 gigs, 20,363. And I don't have virtual memory turned on either, okay? So I have it actually turned off. But I can turn it on if I need to for certain programs. It'll spool the hard drive for extra RAM. But anytime you use virtual memory, you do lose a little bit of performance. Some things you'll notice a performance on, some things you won't. With Chromag, like I said, I'm running without virtual memory, and it just works fantastic, hassle-free. Now, for those Chromag users out there, I would like to say this. If you are having a screen flicker problem, because I'm going to probably do a separate video on this anyways, when you're playing the first 2 levels, it'll black out your screen. This is something that a few people have found, and nobody seemed to have come up with a cure, but I have. Now, on the G4 computer running 922, you must use a DVI cable off your video card and go to a DVI input on your screen. If you go to DVI Super VGA converter or VGA converter cable or adapter, it'll still flicker. Now level 3 doesn't. I don't know why, but the other 2 do. So I went to DVI to DVI onto this monitor, glitch free, no problems whatsoever. So that's a fix for you for Chromag, because even the update for Chromag Rally did not fix the problem. Now you should not have any problems at all with like an eMac or an iMac computer running Chromag. It's built-in displays. So, but when you're talking about a G4 or a G3 computer and you're running Chromag, if you have a screen flicker issue on these towers, it's going to be, you need to go DVI to DVI in order to cure the problem. So, and it did, so I'm like, yes! So, because you have to play all 3 levels before you get to advance to other levels too. So, but it's kind of a pain if your screen's always blacking out. So, in total, I mean, I didn't pay anything for the computer, but if I was going to buy something like this, I would certainly pay an easy $100 for it. And I think it's definitely worth $100. It could be even worth $150 if this is what you're after for something that's useful to you, even of this era, especially if you're playing the older nostalgic games. I mean, we can't play those on any of the new OSs from Apple. And every time Apple even cuts off an OS and goes to a new OS and we upgrade to that OS, we lose some of our cool games. And we can't necessarily go back so easily unless we have a separate hard drive with that last OS on it, and then we could swap hard drives for startup devices. So, but that's a bit of a pain, right? And agreeably so. But sometimes that's what you got to do if you want to run your old nostalgic stuff. A lot of black and white games from way back actually will still run under OS 9, even though it's a color computer. You can actually switch over to grayscale. You can go to 256 grays. Some programs that are straight out black and white, so that's it, right? They won't run, but some will, some won't. It kind of varies. I mean, I got Scarab of Ra on this thing, which is like a Mac Plus game under System 6, I think it was, or System 5. Ridiculously old game, right? Runs fine on this computer. Really super fast, too, by the way. Very fast machine. But, anyways, so I would think that, whether I was looking at this back in the day or whether I look at it now, if you're looking at a star rating of recommendation-wise, I have no problems putting this at a 4.5 out of 5 in that area. Was it worth $1,700 new? More than likely, yes it was, because you have a lot of expansion bays in this thing, a lot of them. You can go to 2 gigs of RAM, which you really don't need a lot of RAM. That's another thing I really love about Macs. You don't need as much hardware to run the same game as a PC does, even at minimum specs, never mind recommended. It's a fantastic platform to be in. Nice ecosystem. This does have an Ethernet port on it and FireWire ports. If I remember right, this also has a modem in it, but it does not have the airport card in it. So I'm going to see if I can find an airport card for it. Then I can go Wi-Fi, and then, I'd be able to actually crawl back onto the internet with 10.5.8 on a separate drive. Type of thing. So I think I might actually put a couple more hard drives in this and run different versions of 10 and see if I can download the Restore CD that will install 9 and 10 at the same time, and then I can do even more with this thing than what I can currently do with just straight out OS 9 on it. But it doesn't go below 922 according to the sheets here. It is pretty much stuck at a minimum of 922, if I remember right, according to our sheet. Yeah, 922 is the minimum. But you get the 922 with the 10.2 Restore, or you just install straight out 10.5.8 on this thing, which you can do. Anyways, so that's what I got for you guys. So if you're looking at an old dog that can still do a few things, and definitely a lot of older stuff that you can do, to make your life a lot simpler and easier, yep, you can definitely do that on this thing. Even to today's standards, this computer will still do a lot of things that actually can do it, well, rather well, okay? It's not the top-end speed horse, but it can actually clip out a pretty good range for doing stuff. Anyways, so that's what I got. If you got any questions, feel free to ask as always. Thanks for watching the video and checking it out. Hope it wasn't too long for you. Do stay tuned for more videos. I've got more computer stuff along the way coming over the next, several long time, and other tech stuff that's going to be going on the channel. I'm kind of changing a few things about the channel in a lot of areas, so definitely stay tuned. I'm sure a lot of you will be interested in that stuff, especially the computer stuff. In the meantime, thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.